It is another wonderful Sunday, and that means it's time for this week's Sunday sermon. So, this past weekend in wrestling, we had a lot of good events taking place. I DVR'd SmackDown on Friday night and had to go back and watch it later because I wanted to see two particular indie shows. One being on IWTV, had St. Louis Anarchy doing their show, No Church in the Wild. And later that evening, you had GCW on Fight TV with their show, Slime Language. And both of those shows, both St. Louis Anarchy and GCW, put on really, really great shows. GCW's always a memorable show. I think this one, in particular with Slime Language, had just that kind of card and just those kind of matches to where moments or whole matches will stick out in your mind. And this was one of those good pay per views they put on that did so. Over on St. Louis Anarchy's side, really good show. They always have such a strong crowd. Even though it's a smaller venue, the crowd is always a really loyal, strong crowd. Um, and they stayed hot throughout No Church on the Wild, or No Church in the Wild, which was really good. Had a good main event that they put on that night. Warhorse was defending his IWTV championship in the St. Louis Anarchy ring that night. Great match, did a great job. And yeah, back over to the GCW side of things. You had several good matches that I enjoyed. You had the main event, Nick Gage taking on Jake Atlas, and just really kicking his ass. You know, Nick Gage has got this thing where he's going to challenge everybody that's leaving the indies, going on to WWE, like Jake Atlas, or going maybe to AEW, and being the last one they take on, I guess, so to speak, before they leave. And it was a good match, that main event. Nick Gage went in there, kicked his ass. Jake Atlas did not go down that easy. He brought the fight enough to kick out, surprise us all, and it took like two pile drivers to get Jake Atlas out. So that was a good main event. Other good matches, you had Tony Deppen and Chris Bay, and that was a match that really showed to me that Chris Bay is going to have a really good next year. I only got to know about him this year, but from what I've seen, yeah, he's got a great future ahead of him. And just really good job done by both men in the ring. Um, Other matches that were really good, you had the six-man scramble, the Blake Christian one, and really cool to see him do, more unique moves like a double springboard. Yeah, double springboard. I think what like a 630, no, like a 630 times two onto everybody outside the ring, and that was wonderful. But Blake Christian won the scramble. Then of course you had good old Mance Warner, taking on Matthew Justice. The match had everything. I mean, they beat each other. They brought out the plunder. Saw things get stapled that we never thought would get stapled. And yeah, that was just a really good match with Manser and Justice. And yeah, just overall, Slime Language was a damn good show. Then one night later, you had AEW with Full Gear. And uh, just from going online and looking at the whole the weekend that was built around this event, Starcast and all the wrestlers that participated in it, it's pretty cool to see everybody kind of hanging out leading up to this particular pay per view. And it was a good pay per view. All the matches, they kind of ended the same, or not the same way, but the way that I kind of expected them to, which is not bad. But I think that GCW has the unpredictability. Um, they kind of have that market cornered with their matches. Everybody else with the bigger budget companies kind of tends to tell their story, have it done, but you leave it to the indies, to the outlaws, and yeah, you have that whole unpredictability factor. Um, Other things going on. I just really want to cover everything that happened with the events this week. AEW had MJF um, turning heel finally against Cody last night after throwing in the towel at Full Gear. And again, it was something that maybe was a little predictable from maybe a while back, but to see it happen, see that turn happen, worth watching. Um, Other things, the main event of Full Gear with Moxley and Omega. Uh, I don't know if it necessarily needed to be a death match. Um, I think they were looking to capitalize on Moxley's past as a deathmatch wrestler, and of course Omega getting in there with him and having that kind of history. But with those two, I think that AEW doesn't have to necessarily go the deathmatch route. They could have had a good match without the gimmick. But yeah, that's just one thing I would have changed about the main event. Just have it be a pure wrestling event, main event, and not necessarily bring in the deathmatch factor because really GCW does that better as well. And I just really enjoyed overall AEW's production. Their production quality has always been great with all their pay-per-views, but this one in particular was nice. Very well done. Giving the nod overall to GCW's Slime Language for the pay-per-view to watch of the weekend, just because it was that good. Every match, like I said, had that unpredictable factor involved. And with stacking it up against the AEW Full Gear card, you still have two really stacked cards, two good-looking cards on paper. But with the delivery, I think GCW has a way of delivering to the audience that is unique to that promotion. And you kind of lose that uniqueness, that magic, when you have the bigger budget companies like AEW or WWE. But yeah, GCW brought that entertainment factor, and so they were definitely the pay-per-view to order for this weekend. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Going back over SmackDown, still building toward the Survivor Series. It was good to once again see the NXT superstars have a spot on the show. I am interested in seeing where the Survivor Series will go from here now that NXT is involved. So looking forward to that. Also looking forward to the week ahead. We've gotten to the midpoint of Uncharted Territory Season 2. So I will be doing a column later this week, or this coming week rather, on the best matches per episode so far. So just look for that. In the meantime, enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully this sermon touched you in a way, or you got some truth that you happen to agree with. If you do, just let me know. Hit me up on Twitter @ThatRoseTattoo, and let's talk the truth. Have a good one.